18th of October 24, and I'm looking at the council by-election results mostly from the 16th of October. I think they all are actually. Last Thursday. This is Saturday, and I'm looking at them from a point of view of using the electoral system as a referendum on a single issue, which at the moment all you can do is vote reform. At the moment, soon you'll be able to vote advance on it. I think we should be voting on a single issue basically, so I'm just looking at it from that point of view. I don't feel I can talk about it because we don't live in a free country. We live in a sort of Stasi state, especially under Keir Starmer. So yeah, I'm just looking at, and first of all, this is an interesting one in Broadheath, Trafford, and you think, well, that's a good result for the Tories, and a huge turnout as well. I think it was 49% or something. Let me see. It was, yeah, nearly 50% turnout. Actually, I'll look at them all first, just to give you an idea of how the day went. So we've got this strange one in Broadheath, Trafford in Manchester. I think it's around the Altrincham area, I'm not sure. I'll tell you about that later. That's an unusual one. Then it's been a really good week for the Lib Dems, which I can't understand myself at all. I don't know if it's people's, I don't know, switching away from Labour, or I don't really know what's going on. Is it Labour supporters who are very interested in the Middle East, what's happening in the Middle East, and they're abandoning Labour because of that, and they haven't anywhere else to. They see Lib Dems as the one most likely to get Labour out of the area or something. I'm not sure. I mean, this area, Whiteleaf and Tanbridge, it was already a Lib Dem area, so that doesn't really explain it there. Guildford in Surrey. This was a local who had this. The local didn't do well this time. The Lib Dems have come in big time. So yeah, Surrey seems to be going Lib Dem a lot. I really can't understand why. Probably legacy corporate media. No, but they won't tell us, especially the local corporate legacy media. You know, Caterham in Surrey again. Lib Dem hold. I really don't understand it. Surrey again, Camberley West. It was Conservative, but now the Lib Dems have got it. Because some of these I would have thought would have go to Reform. Staines, it was the Greens defending, but their votes collapsed, and the Lib Dems have taken it. They didn't even stand the last time, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Ayr, North and Scotland's. I thought this might go to Reform, but no, it went to an independent called Woolly Hog. I mean, personally, I think at this point, Scots should be voting Reform or Advance UK, who aren't going to be sitting councillors. Well, not at the moment anyway, they've said. You know, the thing about council by-elections is it's blessed are those who have a council by-election, because we rarely get a chance to vote, and when we do, we have to vote for party hampers. You know, so people are getting a council by-election, they can get a say on a national thing or whatever. Maybe this was a local thing going on. And then we've got Medfell and St John's and Reigate and Banstead. Don't know where that is. I think it's the southeast of England, but I don't know. Lib Dems were defending and they held it, which I really don't understand. Ashton Preston, this is a unusual one. I thought, well, Labour were defending, but the Lib Dems won it. I thought, well, this might be a Reform area, if possible. You know, a lot of places it's too late for Reform to win, but so I don't know the makeup of this place or how that went a bit. So yeah, and then Copdock and Washbrook in Baberg, no idea where that was. Lib Dem were defending, but Reform won this, so here we go. That went to Reform at least. I mean, looking at them in general, I think Reform's still done pretty well. Here they get 32% there. In Preston, they went from 0 to 25.9%, so that was pretty good. Ashton and Preston. Is that what that deaf MP used to be from, for about 40 years or something. Medvale and St John's, how did Reform do? Well, we do here, they get 11%, so, well, it's pretty low, but it's not bad. Ayr in Scotland, there's a chance this area might go to Reform in a MP election. I reckon it will, because at the moment there's a chance it might go, but probably by the time the thing it will. 17.3%. So is Ayr South expected to go as well. So Reform, they've done pretty well there from a non-start. Staines and Spelthorne, 23.5%, so they've done pretty well there. This Camberley, Surrey, Camberley West, 25.9%, so 26%. Caterham, Surrey, 24.5%, so that's pretty good. Guildford, South East, 12%. Whiteleaf, Tanneridge, from 0 to 26.7%. Pretty good. Okay, I'll start with this Broadheath one. So this is apparently Trafford's the wealthiest part of Manchester. I think it's the only one that's in a sort of wealth index or whatever, I don't know. But Broadheath's meant to be slightly down on the big wealthy areas, but still pretty well off, apparently. But I'm wondering if this one, I mean, Labour and Tories were mainly at it. The Tories 36.8, so even though they won, they went down a bit, and 22%, so Labour's crashed, really. So who else have we got here? Lib Dems have come right in. Could that be to do with the Middle East? I don't know. Reform have come in 16.5, so that's pretty good. But judging on the makeup of the area, that could be they may not get many more than that, I think. And Greens are nowhere, which is a surprise, because you would have thought in Middle East the Greens would do really well. But apparently this is a rich area. And I checked it up, and apparently the school in Trafford, I don't know, Trafford Primary School, I don't know if that's a whole area or whatever, but the school census is a good way of finding out how the local area is going. I think natives were around about 38% in the school census last year or whatever, and the other two big groups I think were, I don't know, Indian or Chinese, I think it was. They were both really big, say 25% each or something. I can't remember. But yeah, and I'm wondering if this has anything to do with the result, because the surname of the Tory is Chakraborty, which I think is apparently is a Bengali Indian name, so Hindu name apparently. Whereas the Labour guy is Mr. Masood, which I think is a Pakistani Muslim name, so they say. Did that have anything to do with it? Because we've got a turnout here of nearly 50%, which is absolutely ridiculous for a council by-election. Usually they're at around about 20%, 25%. So to be up at 50%, people are really interested in voting. And is it a battle of the two surnames, rather than a battle between Tories and Labour? We don't know. A legacy corporate media in a free country would find out for us. They'd be able to say, yes, that's why it is. But we don't know. We don't know that. We're left with just to wonder. And meanwhile, most Brits have to be told you're not allowed to wonder these things, or we'll call you the R word. That's the politicians' thing to it. Whereas, because if they were voting because of the surnames, or that would be the opposite of what the left are teaching us. It should be that they're voting because they prefer the Tory policies over Labour. But so this is a strange one. I mean, Tories at the moment, everywhere else are getting like 2%, 3%. This sort of thing. So why did they get that here? It's a well-to-do area, it's changed a lot. In the last census, apparently, let me see. This is for Trafford Borough, so that's the whole area. So 77.8%. That was 2021 before the Boris waves, which were absolutely massive, the biggest ever So it's probably down to about 70% that now, I would say. And that includes all your 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, the school, like I say, it was had at sort of 38% for that group, So, I don't know, I think it was Trafford Primary School. So, wait a minute, what am I showing here? That's completely changed, so it's even changed from that. This is the 2021 census. 72%, then the others, it never really tells you, we never know, possibly at some point they'll start breaking them down even further so we understand better, but at the moment nobody seems to want to know or whatever, as far as I can understand, So I would imagine that's from 2021. I would imagine that group is down to about 65% now, but I don't really know. And Broadheath is pretty wealthy, it says. It's one of the most affluent local authority areas, Trafford is, in the northwest of England. Its overall wealth profile is positioned relative to the borough of Trafford, which is generally quite affluent. It's notable for low levels of unemployment, etc. And it's the only borough in Greater Manchester to be above the national average for weekly income. I think this is Trafford they're talking about. And Broadheath is not among the most deprived wards in Trafford, so it's not even the most deprived in the Trafford area. Trafford's 21 wards. Broadheath was ranked as 14th alongside Ashton upon Mersey, placing it in the less deprived half of the borough. In summary, Broadheath is located in a highly affluent metropolitan borough and is itself considered to be of average to slightly below average wealth compared to the most affluent areas of Trafford, but is generally a less deprived area compared to the regional average. So we don't know if it was a battle of the surnames here or, apparently the last election here was also a big turnout. It was like 50% or something. Labour won it. But I don't know, but Labour's right down as we can see, because the Labour and Tory are meant to be for everyone in the area, well, I suppose everyone who's get voted are, but we don't know if that's the way it's going to work out, inclusive. So Labour are right down. Tories didn't really move that much, so they're down a bit, but not much. And Reform have come straight in at 16. Well, no, this is a second go, but they're right up from the last time. That might even be their maximum they can get there, we don't know. And Lib Dems, for some reason, had a big thing, and that might be to do with the Middle East, I don't know. You really can't tell. And the Greens are nowhere, so that's interesting. Okay, on to the next one. We're on to Whiteleaf and Tandrift, and this is a Labour hold, a Lib Dem hold actually, 44.9%, up 14%. I just can't understand this at all. Let's see. Turnout 577, but it doesn't tell us a percent. Reform are straight on at 26.7, so that's good. Tories, they were generally the same, so they weren't even in it the last time. So what happened the last time? It was Lib Dem were so big by the looks of it. No, wait a minute. They're even bigger this time. Oh, there was a local in it. There was a local the last time they took a big vote. Labour, 9.7%. They were hardly in it though the last time. Greens, a tiny amount, 8.8%. So, the Greens have got a new leader, Zach Polanski, who's very populist. It's not really having an effect there so far in Whiteleaf and Tandrift. I don't know where that is, and they're last elected here in 2024, so it was only a year ago. On Guildford, Surrey, South East. It was a local who held this. They've lost a seat this time. Lib Dems up 18%. I just can't explain it at all. The locals down, and there's Labour absolutely nowhere, 2.6%. They weren't there before either. Greens 5%, so they're not really in it. The locals stood again, but it's down. He or she or they are down 21% to 16.3. If it's the same local. Tory down 28.8. No, down 8.1%. So they done not bad there, I suppose, for them. And Reform Australia at 12%. Guildford, I think this is a very mixed area, I'm not sure. So it's 32.8%. So yeah, I don't know about these Lib Dem areas. Mystery. Caterham Valley in Surrey, Lib Dem again, and they were defending. They've really stayed at the same, 48%. Just don't know. Labour have crashed. They were hardly in it already, but they're down 7% to 3.6. There's the Greens in at 5.5%. They didn't even stand the last time. The last time it was 2021. There was a local 5.3%. Tories 13%, down 23%. So that was a big drop. I think they're finished there. And Reform straight in at 24.5%, so that's pretty good. On to the next one, Camberley West. Sorry, this is the Tories were defending this, but it's a Lib Dem gain, and the Lib Dems have gained 16.6%, so nearly 50% there. Labour have crashed, they're down 11.4%, 4.3%. Tories, they've absolutely crashed, down 28.8%. It looks like historically that might be them finished there, 20%. And Reformer comes straight in at 26%, really. So that was pretty good turnout. Possibly a very changed area. 27% turnout, so that's about normal for our council by-election. And that was last up in 2021. And on to Staines and Spelthorne. The Greens were defending, but the Lib Dems have won it, so I can't explain this at all. Turnout 30%, so reasonably high. There's the Greens, down 27.8%. Don't know what's going on there. I mean, you'd have thought they would have stuck with them. Lib Dems, they weren't standing the last time. This time they're 37.9%. So that's a total mystery. Reform Australia at 23.5%, so that's pretty good. Tories, 10.9%, they're down 4%, so they weren't a big force here anyway. And an Independent, 12.3%, down 15%, so that was a big change. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I mean, the Greens have totally crashed. You'd have thought with our new leader they'd go up the way. And over to Scotland, and it's Ayr North. This is apparently the Independent is Willie Hogg, and this was an SNP area. Willie Hogg, he sat the last time, and this time he get up 18.8%. It was an SNP seat. They're down 22.5%. So maybe culturally that's them finished there. We don't know, but there's a chance this place might go to reform, for what I understand. And there's Labour, they're down, so they've sort of stayed the same, really. There was a Lib Dem there, 2.2%. There was quite a few locals. And Independents, 18.8%. There was another one, 1.5%, 2.9%. None of them were identity candidates from what I saw, but I can't be sure about that. One had a Macedonian surname, but I'm guessing he was just some sort of independent, inclusive, you know. Tories, they've totally crashed, really. Down 15%, really. So they were around about 20% last time. And Reformer comes straight in at 17.3%, which is not bad for a SNP Labour area, probably. I mean, personally, I think Reform will win all of Scotland, but like they have in Wales almost. You know, in Wales it's now Reform versus Plaid Cymru, really. The next one, Meadvale and St John's in Reigate and Banstead. And this was a Lib Dem area, and the Lib Dems have held it. I just can't understand it. 11.7%. And a turnout of 31%, so reasonable turnout. Greens 17.6%, but they never really gained anything. A new Independent came in at 10.4%. Tories down 16.9%, that might be them over in the area. Reform straight in at 11.6%, so who knows, you know. And Ashton and Preston, and I'm not sure how this area is. I'm guessing it's very mixed now, I don't know, but it's went from Labour to Lib Dems, so Labour have totally crashed. They're down 35% nearly to 24.3%, so maybe culturally that's them finished there. You don't know, but that's a pretty big drop. And the Lib Lib Dems gained 15.8%. Again, I don't know why. Turnout 28.2%. There was an independent 5.7, other 3.4. Tories, they've crashed as well, down 16.3%, and Reform have come straight in at 25.9%. So that was pretty good from Reform. The Lib Dems, I just can't understand it. Are they a protest vote or a whatever? I don't know. A transient vote. This is the 2021 census, so before the Boris waves, so the main group was 87% there. I would imagine that's down to about 80% now or something. So it has changed quite a bit. Religion, this is another key. So Christian and no religion, sort of 50 to 89% or something. So Preston in total has changed a lot. So this seems one of the wards that hasn't changed as fast as the rest of Preston, although it has changed a lot, probably, thanks to the Tories and Labour over the last decades, 75 years. It's not telling me about wealth or anything like that. So, I don't know what the situation is. I was just looking to see who was standing for them, but it looks like there's nothing to notice really there. Alright, so I just don't understand that at all. Anyway, on to the next one. The last one, Cupdock and Washbrook. And this was a Lib Dem area, and now it's a Reform gain. And apparently this is an unusual thing for a Lib Dem area to go Reform. So that's a good sign. Lib Dems are down 27.5%. The Greens have come in, they're up 9.5%, so seems to have been going with the new Green leader. Turnout 38%, so that was pretty high. The Tories, they're down 16%, so they're really in hard times there. And Reform are straight in with 32%. So that's a really good sign. I'm going to just take a look at that, see what. This is the 2021 census, which of course misses the Boris waves. So it hadn't changed by then, but I imagine it's changed a lot since then. So maybe that's why, I don't know, Reform are doing so well, but not enough yet. It's in Suffolk, and it's a small, relatively affluent and older than average population, but that's from 2021. So it doesn't give you the data for Copdock and Washbrook though, so maybe they're just going by Baberg, I don't know. Yeah, they're going by an approximate. Okay, that's this week's results. Let's look at what's coming up next week. It looks like there's 7 next week, starting with this one at Milton and Tamerside, and that was an independent defending. So Reform are there. They hadn't stood there before by the looks of it. In Torridge, never heard of it. Glastonbury, yeah, we all know Glastonbury, Somerset. So Lib Dems are defending, but they're not that high though. 37%, 27%. Tories will crash probably. Reform are coming in, so I would guess that's going to be a Lib Dem though. Don't know why, Dunstan and Somerset, so Somerset again, this is Lib Dem country really, I don't know why. Reform weren't standing the last time. Greens aren't standing this time. They didn't do well the last time. I don't know if the left tactically don't stand so that another left party will get in, I don't know. So the Tories actually held this seat, 42, but they were just beating the Lib Dems. I would guess that's either going to go to Lib Dem or Reform, so I really don't know though. Paulsgrove in Portsmouth, this was an independent who held it at 63%. Labour 14.6. So Reform weren't standing there before. It'll be interesting to see if Reform do well there. This was last up in 2024. Whittlesea Northwest in Finland, no idea where that is. This was strong Tory area, 57%. This might go to Reform, I would guess. Lib Dems didn't even stand. An independent standing as well, though, by the looks of it. Lib Dems aren't standing again. Neither are the Greens. So it's just the Greens against Tories, Reform, and an independent. And Newtown and Christchurch and Colchester. This was a strong Labour area, 57.3%. Could this go to Reform? They weren't there the last time. Lib Dems, not really a Lib Dem country by the looks of it. 9.6 for the Greens. And we've got the Greens, Labour, Lib Dems, Independent, Tory and Reform. So here's hoping for a Reform win, in my opinion. And Moseley in Birmingham. And this was last up in 2022. It was a Lib Dem area, 46.7. Labour 38%. Last time there was only 4 standing. The Greens were nowhere. The Tories were nowhere. No, the Greens. We get Greens, Labour, Lib Dem, a local. 2 independents, I think. I think one of them's from Birmingham Community Independents. And I'm not sure what the background of them are. The surname of the guy, I think, I can't remember now. I think it's Pakistani, I don't know, Mazur or something. Mansour, I think. Don't know. Tory and Reform are standing there as well, but I don't know. Anyway, we'll find out next week, won't we? Okay, bye for now. If you vote SNP, Greens, Lib Dems, don't be afraid to vote Reform. As a protest vote, a referendum vote, single issue vote. We're beyond voting for party hampers. We should be voting on issues. I think this is the only issue that really matters at the moment, So, SNP, Greens, whatever, don't be afraid to vote Reform if that's the way you feel. And if you're got a council by-election coming up, you're blessed because we live in a very undemocratic society and you're getting an opportunity next week. Okay? Bye.